From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
you human trafficker.
Honorable they are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of God.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank.
She said $3,000 is 1,000 to collect $3,000. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the turn thing. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
From the line.
Good morning and welcome to Open Conversation on Atlantic Television Network. Open Conversation is a network/a political platform through which trending political news, events, and stories are discussed with stakeholders. Through these conversations, ATN uses political talks about specific issues, party system, and actor to explore hope and engender positive impacts to the society. Today on Open Conversation, we'll look at the stories. First, Edo State. Cleric appeals to Governor Baseki against impeaching Shuaibu. And then on to Ondo State, group rejects the alliance between Governor Ayaditiwa Mimiko. Budget pardon, APC backs Senate President Akpabio knocks PDP. And then on National Assembly, Senator Woko says he received 1 billion naira for constituency projects. Do not go away. When I come back from this break, we'll delve right into the story.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of God.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank.
She said $3,000 is 1,000 to collect $3,000. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the turn thing. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
you human trafficker.
Honorable
to withhold the connection. So no agreement with the EU, but
representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of God.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank.
POS operator, she said 50,000 naira is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which are you.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
Welcome back. With me on the show this morning is Mr. Wenyimi Mufasa Eimosen. Mr. Mufasa is a political analyst. Good morning and welcome to Open Conversation, Mr. Mufasa.
Good morning, Choma. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Same here. And on to the story. A Catholic priest in Benin, Edo State, Very Reverend Father Dr. Andrew Obinyan, has appealed to Governor Godwin Obaseki to leave his deputy, Philip Shaibu, alone to deal with his issues. Obinyan, who stated this in an open letter to Obaseki on Sunday in Benin, noted that impeaching Shaibu under the governor's watch will be perceived as a sting of betrayal. The cleric, who noted that Shaibu was one of Obaseki's rock-bottom foundations and support during his lowest ebb, urged the governor to prevail over the state legislators to discontinue the impeachment process. Now, Mr. Mufasa, you're not new to the intrigues between Shaibu and Obaseki in Edo State.
Okay.
Now, the cleric is saying that going by the relationship you have with Shaibu, it will be seen as a sting of betrayal if you do nothing to stop the impeachment process.
Let me say that I do not know the interest of the cleric in this matter, if it's for the overall best interest of the people of Edo State, or the cleric is only trying to make peace between the governor and the deputy governor for political purposes. But one would ordinarily expect such call to be coming in the best interest of the state. Now, another question that I want to ask is, has the deputy governor committed any impeachable crime? Because I know for a fact that you don't just wake up and say you want to impeach, an elected officer of government if you have not, checked to see if the person actually has committed an impeachable offense. Now, if the deputy governor has committed an impeachable offense before our laws and the punitive measure is for him to be impeached, then I do not see, any reason why the cleric should be calling on the governor to prevail, unless, of course, it's possible that everything is bordered around, the political infighting
that's the
that they're having. Good. That's what I'm saying, that looking at it from both perspectives, the cleric, is he coming for there to be peace in the state in the best interest of the Edo State people, or is he coming in the interest of political expediency, owing to the fact that if somebody is perceived to have committed an impeachable offense, of course you must prove beyond every reasonable doubt that he has actually committed an impeachable offense. Then, of course, the proper thing should be done. But if the Edo State House of Assembly is just trying to victimize the deputy governor just because he is not in the same page with the governor, then, such impeachment move will not even hold sway. Rather, it will cause more problem in the polity of Edo State. But I personally, my own opinion, though, is that both the governor and the deputy governor, including the House of Assembly members, they have barely 3 or 4 months or thereabouts. I stand to be corrected anyway, but I know they have a very short period of time to stay in office. So why this sudden impeachment move? Why?
Isn't that a distraction to the electoral process? Seeing that the deadline given by the state INEC, it's almost closed. It's 24th of March.
No, the deadline for what?
For submission, for political parties to submit names.
It won't affect. Now, the deputy governor has thrown his hats in the ring. He's claiming to be the factional PDP flag bearer. I don't know if he has the locus to still parade himself as the candidate of the PDP, but I'm very much aware that the person that the flag was handed over to is the Igodalo, the Igodalo guy was seen as a person who validly won the primaries. But looking at the issue of distracting the electoral process, it does not concern, INEC's capacity or ability to conduct the election. If they are distracting themselves, it's going to affect governance, because not until May 29th, not until the...
We're talking of the primaries here.
No, I'm talking about...
The elections.
Good, I'm talking about the overall interest of the states. And I'm saying that not until the actual expiration of tenure, after the actual expiration of the legitimate expiration of tenure of office, the governor still owes the people of Edo State that responsibility to provide quality leadership until his last day in office. So that is the distraction that I'm drawing this kind of infighting from. But when it comes to whatever political, infighting, whatever political arrangement it could have on their political party, there has never been a time where you don't see some squabbles, some struggling and all of that within political parties. It could be in a subtle manner or in a more elaborate manner that people can see, just like what we have in Edo State today. But by and large, my take on all this is for the governors, the leadership hierarchy of the Edo state government, both on the part of the executive and the legislature, should understand that the people of Edo State deserve the best kind of leadership that they could get. And if they want to be fighting themselves like this and allowing governance to suffer, it is the people that bears much of the brunt. If the deputy governor has committed an impeachable offense, of course they must show proof that this is what he has committed and it amounts to an impeachment. But if he has not committed an impeachable offense and they just want to victimize him, you know, they just want to you know, exercise some level of superior powers on him just because he is not in the same page with the governor, I'm not sure that such impeachment will stand. Rather, it's going to allow this whole problem to linger on. What they should have done is be patient, allow this government to complete its time, which is almost, you know, coming to a halt. You know, then the people will now decide who they so desire to lead them in the general election in Edo State that we are expecting to come up anytime soon.
All right.
Thank you very much.
All right. The Ondo State Redemption Initiative has kicked against the alliance between Governor Lucky Ayedetiwa of Ondo State and a former governor of the state, Dr. Olusegun Mimiko. The group, in a statement signed by its president, Pastor Adebayo Olusanmi, Secretary Jide Oriola, and Publicity Secretary Sunday Ayeni, described the intervention of Mimiko, a People's Democratic Party member, in APC's affairs as unholy. The group said the appointment of key allies of Mimiko into the APC government and the nocturnal meetings between the governor and key opposition figure showed desperation to retain power at all costs. The statement, titled Ayedetiwa's Unholy Alliance with Mimiko, said the governor was not hiding his desperation to retain his office beyond March next year, even at the detriment of APC members who worked for the success of the party at the 2020 governorship election. Aside Mimiko, the group said the other phase of the alliance with opposition figures is the alliance between anti-President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in order to diminish the president's influence in the states. Pointedly, Ogusanmi said Ayedetiwa's alliance with Bola Ilori and Tayo Okeyori, popularly known as Karigo, proteges of former Governor Rauf Aregbesola of Osun State, who worked against President Tinubu during the APC primary and election, showed plans by the governor to diminish the influence of the president in the state. Isn't the state supposed to be autonomous? Why is APC going on and on about the influence of the president in the state? That's on one hand. And then I also want you to address the concerns of the APC, you know, about Ayedetiwa's recent alliance with the PDP Mimiko.
Well, you see, it's politics, and for me, at times when they begin to play their politics, I just, you know, sit tight and watch as things, you know, unfold. The PDP, as a political party, I'm sure they should also have their own candidates for the election, you know, when the time for the election proper comes. So the concern raised by the APC, I do not know what could have inspired such concern, because it's even a good thing that key players in the PDP, you know, the likes of former Governor Olusegun Mimiko, you know, if they are, you know, making moves, if they have shown interest in supporting the candidate of the PDP or the current governor of Ondo State, Ayedatiwa, if the likes of Olusegun Mimiko and some of his associates in the APC, they are supporting the governor, for me it's a good thing for the PDP, because it's a good thing for the APC. It goes to show that if Ayedatiwa is interested to run for the office when the election comes, then they've had, you know, they are sure they are sure of the support of some key players in the APC. Then, looking at whether or not this governor should accept support, for me, it's one thing for us to always present political parties in our day-to-day, governance activities. But then again, we should also understand that the governor is not just governor to the APC alone. He's also governor to members of other political parties. And you agree with me that these governors, they usually call for members of all other political parties to join hands and support their governments so that the government can have a smooth sailing. So if that is the case, then the APC have nothing to worry about. Now, talking about the independence of the state and whether or not the president has some level of influence over what goes on in the state, especially in an APC state. The president is more or less the leader of the party by virtue of his position as president of the federation. And I do not say anything wrong if he's interested in governance in the states where its political party has the leadership control in terms of governance. So it is not out of place. But if they are saying that because Olusegun Mimiko did not support the president, and for that singular reason, he shouldn't show any interest in governance, he shouldn't come close to the governor, he shouldn't support the governor, that call for me is not, it's inappropriate, because it's not like you are telling somebody because you are not a member of the party that brought in the government into power, for that singular reason, you cannot air your view and opinion in terms of, profiling solution or giving any form of advice, if needed or necessary, to the sitting governor, just because you are not in the same party with him. The only problem that you can start having is if such advice or assistance is inimical to the growth and progress of the state. Very important. We are talking about governance. Okay? Once it's time for politics, when they want to play politics during the election time, then you can ask, okay, political party, feed your candidates, support your candidate, and also monitor the activities of other political parties. But if you have key elements from other political parties like the PDP in the case of Ondo State now, coming to say that we are in support of this man, we like his leadership style, and some other individuals that are from the same party of the governor, just because their interest and the interest of the governor does not tally. You know what happened and how the former governor died, and how some party member who are loyal to the governor who are not happy with what happened, and how the circumstances surrounding the Aiyedatiwa becoming acting governor, from acting governor before he now became substantive governor. Some key supporters of Akeredolu have vowed that they will not be loyal to him. Could it also be these same people that are saying that because this governor now, Aiyedatiwa is now obnobbing with some PDP members, they are not seeing it as, as something that the party, the APC, should not, take lying low just because of, some level of grievances that they've lost before. So that's why I said this is not time for that. If you have people from other political parties who are genuinely interested in the stability and progress of the state, regardless of their political leanings, they should be allowed to, to support.
Let's look at the winner takes it all syndrome in Nigerian political ecosystem. Now, one of the concerns that they mentioned in their letter was that, Aiyedatiwa has been appointing PDP persons into political positions, has been giving them positions, have been appointing them into different duties in the state, and they are not too happy with it. Now, what Aiyedatiwa is doing is still not democratic, even if it seems to the political party that, okay, this is not right. Is it not democratic Isn't that what democracy is all about? Isn't that what inclusivity and governance all about?
Exactly. You took that thing out from my mouth. Your question just came. The president of this country currently has PDP, a known PDP member in the person of the former governor of Rivers State as part of his cabinet. And you saw how the former governor of Rivers State, who is currently the FCT minister, is equally bringing other PDP members to serve, in his own cabinet as FCT minister. In fact, some of them have been given federal appointments. Just recently, the former commissioner for works, Alaboda's George Kelly, was given a federal appointment as a PDP member. The question is, do these people, did they merit the position? Do they have the capacity and qualification? That is what we should be looking at, because if we don't carefully separate governance from politics, we can never make progress as a nation.
Okay.
You talked about the key democratic philosophy, the ethos of democracy. After the election comes governance. Now, if there are members of the PDP, for instance, whom, of course, because they also have, like I said, they have candidates who did not support the APC during the time of the electioneering season. And now the elections are over and the governor has deemed it expedient to bring in some of these, individuals to help his government succeed. There's nothing wrong in that. The only time that the party should be concerned is if you are using that position given to you to fight the APC or the government. Like for instance now, let's say I became an elected office holder and you are a member of another political party during the course of my campaign and all of that. You did not support me because you have a candidate from your party. And I know that you, as a media guru, there are a lot of things that you have to contribute to my government in terms of, media and, publicity and all of that. After election, I've been sworn into office as an elected office holder, and I feel that there is ample need for you, even as a member of the opposition party, that you have so much to give to make me succeed as an elected office holder. I don't see anything wrong in calling on you to say, Loresha, I need you in my government. It is not left for you whether to accept or to reject that offer. But if you accept that offer and show interest to work for the success of my government, I do not see why members of my own party should come and begin to agitate. Because the most important interest now at that point in time is for the government to succeed, just as President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing. So the APC in Ondo State, as they are making such observations and complaints, they should also have a peep at the federal government and also see that the president of the same party is practicing almost the same thing.
Right.
And nobody is seeing it as a big issue.
All right. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll continue. Do not go away.
What Nigerians need
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for immediate release of this minister in the Temple of God.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank.
POS operator, she said 3,000 naira is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which are you.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the taunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring honest pop news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on The Fact Today, only on ATN.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
You human trafficker.
Honorable
You're a human
They are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the temple of God.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank.
POS operator, she said 3,000 naira is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the Tonte. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Welcome back. Following allegations of insertions of suspicious projects to the tune of over 3 trillion naira in the 2024 budget by the Senate, the ruling All Progressive Congress APC has thrown its weight behind the Senate President Godswill Akpabio. The party said calls for Akpabio to resign were misplaced. Also, APC in a statement from its publicity directorate on Friday evening described PDP as a meddlesome interloper. It said PDP's call for Akpabio to step aside over the matter of an unsubstantiated allegation of budget padding by the Senate is nothing short of crass buffoonery. The statement signed by Felix Moka noted that the PDP has shown itself as an entity bereft of focus and purpose, and like a political scavenger, always quick to feast on sham without thought and consideration for facts and institutional due process. That's APC lambasting PDP for calling on Akpabio to step down over allegations of budget padding. Without much ado, Mr. Mufasa, I want your take on this.
Well, if we were to be operating a system that is somehow close to what the practice in other climes that equally practice democracy, in issues like this, I do not think calling on the Senate President to step aside for proper investigation to take place is a wrong call. The APC, for me, they are trying to protect the Senate President just because he is a member of their political party. But what they fail to understand is that the call is not just coming from the PDP. A vast majority of Nigerians are equally concerned about this matter. And with the hastiness, that the Akpabio-led Senate, applying that matter, suspending the Senator Abdul Ningi, for me, it shows that there are a lot of issues that, maybe they don't want Nigerians to know about. So I think the PDP, they're in order, calling on the Senate President to step aside so that a proper investigation is carried out. Nigerians are equally interested in what will become the outcome of such investigation. The senator came out and told Nigerians, including his colleague, that these findings were not of his making, that he hired consultants.
Before he hired consultants, probably he had
there were certain suspicions now. So he did not just on his own, he hired consultants, which means those consultants, they are professionals in analyzing budgets, even budgets. Budget, the organization called Budget, also said that there are certain discrepancies in that budget. A lot of projects are not tied to actual a lot of monies rather were not tied to any project. So for me, I understand the position of APC, but let us also understand that Nigerians, we are not fools. Even though we know that they have pulled the wools over our eyes, on a regular basis. But then again, I think it is pertinent for these leaders and their political party to understand that we deserve to get accountability from those whom we have given the responsibility to lead us. They are not operating their private estates. They are not running their own companies. They are running this country on behalf of the people. So if they think that they can mesmerize, change, and relegate the consciousness of the people to the background just because they have been given such opportunity, for me, it doesn't matter the type of names that they call us, whether you want to call everybody meddlesome interlopers, whether you want to call all sorts manner of names, what Nigerians, including the PDP as a political party, what we want is accountability. A very grave allegations has been leveled against the leadership of this country, including the Senate, because if a budget was, if an appropriation act, a bill rather, a proposal was presented to the Senate to look into, it's expected that some of these things should have been identified and corrected. But instead, I wasn't the one that made the allegation. It was a lawmaker that made the allegation, and he told us that, you know. So let us not throw away the baby and the bathwater.
The burden of proof falls on the lawmaker that alleged that.
No,
and he's yet.
No, my dear
evidence.
friend.
And then on the other hand, APC has an argument. They said you can't ask the Senate president to step down based on unsubstantiated.
He has been accused of something. In Senate claims, the moment an allegation is leveled, what you see immediately, the officer resigns. Immediately the officer resigns. So let us not behave as if we don't know what is happening outside this country. Like I've said before, if we should go by democracy, we were not the ones that invented democracy. Democracy was brought into this country by, by the colonial masters. We saw what they were doing, and we tried to model our democracy in like manners. But we are not operating our democracy the way it is operated in these places that we saw the democracy they were practicing and brought it down to this country. You have been accused. What is expected is that the Senate should have immediately set up a committee. Already they have their ethics and privilege committee. If they still want to set up another committee, because this is a very, very grievous allegation. Let us look into this thing that has been brought forward by this gentleman. Rather than hastily concluding the matter, suspending the man, and they continue with the business of the day as if what the man has said is not worthy to be looked into. Honest of proof or not, the allegation has been made. So if you as a Senate president, your integrity has been called to question, I think it would have been respected and celebrated more if you had said that, well, this man he has made an allegation, and he said he engaged the services of seasoned consultants.
Then you should
they can even invite the consultants, because the consultants, I'm sure, will also have their own integrity to protect. Let us know your findings. Then the Senate can also bring other consultants and auditors to equally look at this grave allegation. Rather, you saw the drama that played out during that a plenary. So it is a case of paddy government, as Fela will call it. Let them talk from now till tomorrow. Nothing will happen. Business as usual. So even as the PDP has raised their concern as a party, an opposition party that is playing its legitimate role to observe and criticize constructively, they have said that this allegation made by this man, not to forget, that senator is a member of the PDP. So why hastily suspending him just because he raised an issue?
Now let's look at
what is more important. Is it the issue that he has raised, or the fact that he has mentioned certain names?
During the PDP-led administration, in fact, allegations of corruption was at its peak during the PDP-led administration. How many persons stepped down?
We are not looking at,
because these are precedents that has been set over time. Now, PDP is calling out for the APC-led government. The Senate president should step down. probably because the Senate president is APC. But let's look at it critically, because these are the reality that we are facing in this country currently. While playing the opposition, it's okay to play the opposition, but then at what point do the political parties come out to take responsibility for years of impunity in the country?
Laurentia,
If tables were turned,
let us
PDP, if tables were turned, let me ask you, Mr. Mufasa, if tables were turned, you know, and it were to be a PDP-led administration and probably a PDP Senate president, will PDP insist that the Senate president will step down? Honestly,
perhaps we should be expecting the APC
to do the same.
Yes, to make such call. Now, let me just say this, that something bad has not been condemned over a certain period of time does not mean we should encourage it. We are craving for a better society, a better Nigeria. I understand that we've had very nasty experiences in the past as regards leadership and governance. But that not to say that we cannot start to be doing things right in this country. I know that PDP had their own fair share of accusations, counter accusations, and all of that during their time. And as at 2015, when the APC was jostling for power, and they eventually got it, the mantra, the toga that was presented and won by the APC then was to move from the old order to a new order where corruption would be less. That was why when former President Muhammadu Buhari came up with the mantra of fighting corruption, a lot of people were happy and they keyed in. It was voted in. But it seems as though we are having it worse than what we had during the PDP era. And for the PDP as a party in the opposition to even come out to say that these practices that has been identified to be corrupt practices, although it's an allegation, let us get to the logical conclusion. Don't you think that setting the right precedents now will equally help to put the record straight? Yes.
Of course.
Now we will now put the nation in the path of prosperity and progress,
right,
in the sense that we have been able now to clean the organ stable gradually.
Okay.
Any administration that comes after this one will understand that now is not business as usual. You will sit up and you build on what has been achieved in the fight against corruption.
All right. The senator for Delta North Senatorial District, Ned Nwoko, has disclosed that he received more than 1 billion naira for constituency projects. Nwoko, during a recent interview, mentioned that the allocation of resources to senators often varies based on the magnitude of their constituency projects, indicating that it's not uncommon for some, including himself, to receive larger amounts. This revelation comes amid the recent controversy of budget padding by Senator Abdul Ningi of the 2024 budget with an extra 3.7 trillion naira, a fund not tied to any extra projects. Although the Red Chamber denied any wrongdoing, some senators clarified the amount allocated for constituency projects in their districts. Speaking on the developments, Nwoko made it clear that the allocated funds are for financing projects, not for personal reimbursement of individual senators. Mr. Mufasa, a senator receiving as much as 1 billion naira on constituency projects. The question is, what are these constituency projects? Where are these constituency projects? Why are the people not feeling the impact of these monies that are being given to the senators to make life easier for the masses?
I know that if not for the revelation made by the senator, I think senator from Cross River State or so, that mentioned, how some senators collected 500 million.
Yeah.
And you now heard the leader, Senator Bemi Bamidele, saying that he will not deny that he did not receive even more than that they are for constituency projects. That most times Senator even spends more than that money just to deliver the constituency projects to their, constituents, as the case may be. Senator Ned Nwoko, well, at times we even wonder how these people even find their way to the hallowed chamber in the first instance. If you are claiming that you were given 1 billion, even more, for constituency projects, and like you rightly said, the people from that constituency, they are not feeling the impact. I was expecting him to name or show what exactly he has done, because it's not by talking. You believe more the things you see. I'm sure that some of the projects he is referring to, they are not projects that is done in his own house, because we know distinguished Senator Ned and his projects. But then again, we don't want to go into that. But what Nigerians are interested in is, show us what you have been doing and show us the template. Let us know. And why now? If that senator had not come out to say that people have been collecting money to the tune of thousands of millions and billions just because they are ranking senators, would Senator Ned Nwoko come out today to inform Nigerians that he has received ₦1 billion for constituency project? The question another I want to ask is, the duty of a lawmaker, apart from oversight and making of law, is a lawmaker supposed to even go beyond his brief of making laws for the people and begin to become contractors? Of course, I will not forget in a hurry the off the mic saga. If you remember, even when NDDC was saying that some of them even come bidding for, they are contractors. So let us know these people for who they are. I'm happy that all this revelation is coming from their own house. More will still come out. But Nigerians should be vigilant and continue to demand for accountability. We want to know what he has used that 1 billion to do in the lives of the people of Delta North Senatorial District.
Not just Senator Nwoko, but every other legislator in the House. Thank you, Mr. Mufasa, for being a guest on Open Conversation today. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, the most delectable Laurentia Ogu. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much. This is where we wrap it up on this episode of Open Conversation. You can always stay connected to us and follow us on all our socials. Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network. Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1. Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnet.net. Do not forget, peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you for watching. I am Ugu Laurentia Choma. Transition News comes up next. Don't go away.
From the line across the ocean.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for immediate release of this minister in the Temple of God.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank.
POS operator, she said 3,000 naira is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth.